Welcome to Best Kept Secrets Travel, Episode 3. My name's Morgan.
And I'm Will, and on today's episode, we are going to be doing a deep dive into a country in Southeast Asia. Can you guess what this is?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you can, Morgan. It
So I wrote the
is
episode.
Laos. This is part one of our deep dive. On this episode, we're going to be going through the geography, the history, a few random facts. We're going to be doing food and drink and some daily living prices of what you could expect being a tourist going over there. And then we're going to do a part two going into the activities, the excursions, everything awesome you can also do. We might even, in this part one as well, we might, if we're feeling generous,
If we're feeling
generous, give you some tips and tricks for Instagram locations.
Oh,
For all those social media boyfriends
That's
and
a good
girlfriends
best
out there
kept
needing
secret.
a bit of ease on all your research you're having to do for your social media mogul other half, this might be the episode for you.
And this is our first time doing deep dive, because we do like doing our deep dives with a part 1 and a part 2. Can you remember the last time we did a deep dive?
No. So we did do a few
has
deep
been a
dives.
while.
Did
Australia,
Ukraine,
Kiev,
Indonesia,
Budapest, and then we did one more actual deep dive,
uh-huh.
which was Vietnam.
Yeah, I remember that. I wasn't charging around on caffeine at that point.
No. Another place in Southeast Asia. So now we're going next door.
Not even just another place, a neighbour.
A neighbour, yes. Well, that's next door.
I didn't hear you say that part.
Roll
I must be
the-
going deaf on this side.
Roll the intro.
Yeah, roll it. Roll it now.
Best friends, and that's for life. Who stay traveling? I'm talking worldwide. 65 countries between the two. Every moment is so unbelievable. Sharing the best kept secrets about the trips and mistakes they made that they can't forget. So tell me if you're ready for a time to remember as they gear up for the next adventure. Yeah. Woo! Best kept secrets travel.
Whilst Morgan's still laughing about my neighbour joke from the opening scene, can I just remind you to like, subscribe, make sure you have rung that notification bell if you're watching us today on YouTube. Well, if you're listening to us on a podcast and it's safe to do so, then please follow us, leave a review, download every single episode so far, because for every 50 downloads we have on our podcast channel, we plant a tree somewhere around the world in one of our favourite locations. We've done them all across South America, North America, Africa, Europe. Haven't done Antarctica yet. Slightly hard for us to plant a tree there.
Have we done Asia?
Right. Every download we get on this episode, I'm going to try and plant a tree in Laos.
Every download.
Every podcast download.
Every download. Okay.
That's
what
every download. For every 50 downloads on this one, we will plant a tree.
Yeah,
in
that
Laos.
I was just checking.
We'll do that.
was
And
what
for
I
every
was
100
checking.
subscribers on our YouTube channel, we always plant a tree in a National Trust site in the UK.
That sounds like a good deal. Now, Will, short and sharp, one sentence.
One sentence.
Can you tell me about Laos?
No. But I can tell you where it is. I could tell you where it is in one short, sharp sentence. Short, sharp sentence.
Sharp.
So, Laos...
For those who are not watching on video, we're getting our script at this. We are good.
We're very good. It's just the amount of information and detail we want to get out. And our budget for this podcast, we do not have a teleprompter yet.
We did say that we wanted one for season 2.
We might, maybe.
We're going to have to set up an iPad or something with the script underneath, I think.
I think you can download a teleprompter app for an iPad. But I think
Perfect.
we'd be really,
I don't have
really
an iPad.
robotic doing
Do you
that.
have an iPad?
I think I've got an old one lying around somewhere. Like a really old one.
Well, you say robotic. We're currently reading.
And we really like robots. So let's go. So Laos is a landlocked country of the northeast central mainland of Southeast Asia.
Fantastic. That was short and sharp.
And it was only one sentence, just like you asked.
Perfect. So I'm going to move on to a bit of the history.
I recommend you do move on, and I'll take this podcast.
Okay, that's fine.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of history today. The Lao people were a tribe originally from Yunnan, China, who had pushed south to the border.
No, not having this. Not having this. I want...
Where were they pushed?
No, I want short, to the point, and energetic. The Lao people were a tribe originally from the Yunnan province in China who were pushed south to the border for the Khmer Empire in the 13th century. At the Second Geneva Conference in 1961 to 1960... That's a long conference. Laos,
It's dragging out that one.
Laos declared neutral. Now it's your turn. Laos declared itself neutral in the hope of avoiding future international conflicts, but this too was not to be. By the 1960s, Laos was dragged into the Cold War, mostly because of its geopolitical position beside Vietnam. Whilst the entire world watched the US-Vietnam War, few knew that a secret war was also being waged in Laos, with even more devastating results. Laos suffered the heaviest bombing of any country at any point in history. The capital of Laos is Vientiane, and the population is only 1.17 million.
That's really not many people.
No.
I would have thought it was more. But then at the same time, I really wish that you came up with a fact of how many people died in apparently the history's worst bombings. Because then we could see as a percentage of the country's population how devastating it was.
I think it was more... I
mean, maybe back then they haven't done a big enough census.
I'm pretty sure they were quite good at hiding, as we'll find out later.
Well, Morgan, if we do have a random fact later which might help with the reason why they're good at hiding, because with their average height at only 5 foot 1.37 inches, they could be quite good at getting into those small spaces to hide.
So I've just quickly looked it up, and Laos is the most heavily bombed country in the world, with over 2 million tons of bombs dropped during the Vietnam War. That is a lot. A ton for each person living in Laos at the time.
No.
That is awful. And more than 50,000 people have been killed by unexploded bombs.
Holy cow.
And 20,000 people since the war has ended. So people are still dying from these bombs. And
That's actually insane.
And this is something that I remember even for Vietnam, people, I was told to sort of stay on the path because there are still lots of unexploded bombs.
Well, you still get a lot of unexploded bombs, mines, everything, because there's the I think it's called the Halo Trust or the Halo Charity, which go around and they go around detonating or removing landmines in a lot of countries around the world. So we're gonna crack on some really cool random facts.
Random interesting facts.
Laos is known, as Morgan likes to call it, a zero ocean country, right? And
landlocked.
That is because it's landlocked. It doesn't have any ocean yet. It has over 4,000 countries. 4,000. It's got 4,000 islands within Laos. Yet there's no ocean. Can any of our viewers or listeners right now work out why that is?
Big swimming pool.
I'm looking at you, and I'm talking to you.
It's definitely a big swimming pool.
Do you know why it is? It's because in the south of the country, you've got the Mekong River.
Ooh.
One of the most amazing natural attractions.
And what did we talk about in Vietnam episode?
The Mekong Delta.
The Delta. So
See, I remember that. I don't remember much about the episode, but I know the Mekong because there's some extreme fishing to be done in there.
Fantastic.
Big catfish. I'm talking rumours of people being eaten by them big.
Oh,
big catfish. Cool. Maybe an episode in the future I'll get to go out there and fish. And
have you ever wanted to own an island?
What, with 4,000 of them in the Mekong River?
Well, yeah, you wouldn't be very
special. Laos, we might be able to. I've always wanted to own an island.
Yeah.
It's just maybe we need to start with a small one. I'm just worried about the international tax implications of it.
I could build a sandcastle on my own little island.
Morgan, you're an idiot.
Okay.
Morgan, so what is magical?
There are lots of things magical in Laos, but it is home
Abracadabra.
No. It is home to the magical... It is home to the magical Crater Lake, Nong Pha Lake, which is a stunning volcanic lake found at elevated levels in the mountains of southeast Laos. It's shrouded in legend, respect and fear. The Laotians refuse to swim or bathe in the water because they think the lake is home to a giant snake pig that will consume anyone who will bathe in it.
Snake pig. Snake pig.
That just reminds me of The Simpsons now.
It really is. It's spider pig.
Spider pig.
So what's the snake do? Slithery pig.
Slithery pig does whatever slithery pig does.
Well, it's a snake pig.
Snake pig, yeah. So what?
Slithers here, slithers there. Snake pig, he's everywhere.
So what do you think the most animal in real life? What do you think the closest to a snake pig is?
I can't remember. It's not bush viper. There's a type of viper snake with a sort of weird, like, flared nose. It's a little bit ugly like that. Yeah, you can zoom in right now if you're editing this. And it looks a little bit like a funny sort of pig. Other than that, I'm trying to think. I can't think of a pig that has snake vibes about it. I'm trying to think of a
dog.
snake that has no.
Too much pig.
There might be a type of lizard or gecko that has one.
Anteater, maybe. It's got it's long at parts.
Pangolin.
A pangolin. Yeah,
That could be a bit of a snake pig. You know, it's got the scales, the dragon scale look. It's
'cause
not really a pig, but you know, it's
all
close
pigs
enough.
have scales. Snakes do.
Pangolin is our snake pig.
Yeah, we'll go for pangolin.
And that is why we need to protect them at all costs.
Protect all the
Endangered
snake
species.
pigs.
Protect the snake
Endangered.
pigs. If we ever go and see a pangolin, we'll have to record being with a snake pig.
Yeah. So what's our next fact?
Our next fact, Morgan, is the fact that Laos is one of 5 countries in the world which still remains to be run by a communist government. Can you name another one?
That's interesting. China.
I'll go for North Korea.
Vietnam. Would?
I don't think an unidentified country would count.
Yeah, well, no,
Can you think of it?
I don't know. It's bad. It would be bad to say and be wrong. The 2 countries that come into mind:
Yeah.
Democratic Republic of Congo, just because it's democratic.
Yeah.
Possibly Belarus. Maybe. We're gonna Cuba. Surely.
Maybe.
Surely it's Cuba.
Yeah. It would make sense.
And the answer is Cuba.
Were we wrong on
other
any
one?
others?
Yeah, democratic. This only says 4 here. This only has China, Cuba, Laos, and Vietnam. But yeah, moving on.
Moving on. Anyone wants to correct us, then at least you've got this far in the
They
podcast.
can. Home to possibly the cheapest alcohol in the world is Lao Lao rice whiskey.
Lao Lao.
Very potent,
I want some.
and it is less than $1
What?
per milliliter. You said what too soon. It's less than $1 per liter.
Per litre. Per litre. I want
That is
some.
dangerous. That is
Morgan,
very,
We need to go there.
very
Make sure
dangerous.
when we bring it back, we don't get taxed. $1 a litre. That's
Yep.
so cheap.
That is
Terrifyingly cheap.
terrifyingly cheap. But I wonder what it
insane.
tastes like.
We're gonna try and get some for a future alcohol
Yeah.
episode.
We should for sure.
Yeah. Get drunk on Lao Lao.
Lao Lao.
So, as I mentioned earlier, as Morgan was mentioning about the, was it 200 million tons of bombs?
Yes. 2 million, I think.
2 million?
2 million tons.
Oh, okay. So there were 2 million people in the country at that time.
Yeah, there definitely wasn't 200 million.
Yeah. So, that's insane. 2 million tons of bombs. Morgan claimed he thought the reason not that many people died was they were good at hiding. And I joked that Laotians are the second shortest people in the world
Where
with
was
an
that the joke?
average height of 5 foot 1.37 inches.
That is short. That is
It's tiny. Feels like it would come up to my waist.
short. The only
It's short.
the only place that I've seen that was with you in Peru and Bolivia.
Well, in Bolivia, you mentioned it when because when we were in La Paz, there was a bit of a miniature civil war went on. The race around was it called
Race around the world.
Race around the world. They even avoided Bolivia, but Morgan
Well, they
and
were
I
in Bolivia and they can't stop filming.
no, because they were about to go to La Paz and then they said to all the teams, you've got to avoid it now.
Team was in it.
And then Morgan and I, we just went straight for it because we just thought, you know what, unique experience.
Cost benefit analysis.
Exactly. Cost benefit analysis. Stick that on the screen right now for our YouTube viewers to remind them. Cost benefit analysis. That's what we need.
What's that? Yeah, I guess it is. We're looking at the reflection. I was just getting confused.
I don't get confused, Morgan. I'm correct because it's all cost benefit analysis. Basically, we arrived just as that sort of civil unrest was ending, and there were loads of police on the streets, hundreds of police. They put barricades up.
Riot barricades up.
Yeah, it was insane, and we were both sort of joking around. It's like, okay, this is more intense than we thought. And you just got your GoPro out, like, oh, just pretend I'm not filming. I'll film it. I was like, oh no, it's like the last thing I wanted
Getting the GoPro
was we
out,
landed in Bolivia, in La Paz, in that we're just going to be arrested on day one during all this sort of high intensity, because then we'd be in prison with all the people who'd been arrested because of it.
We'd be safe.
Anyway, back to the point was I was walking past all these police, and Morgan then, once we got past one of the chunks, just laughed and just went, just saying how much taller I was than them all. And it just looked a bit funny that they're all in this insane, crazy riot gear with their shields and their guns. Yet I was just towering over them all, that they must have all just thought I was some big, like, threat walking through.
They were probably only seeing threats.
Would have been like Game of Thrones from the mountain, just so I could like lift them off and just start throwing.
You think you're the mountain?
No, relative.
Okay, got it.
Relative. Like the mountain to me.
I mean, yeah, brain cells maybe.
The mountain to me
is tall and something.
Is a smaller difference than it is from me to the 5'2".
How tall is the mountain?
I don't think he's not 6'10", is he? I don't think he's that tall.
It's gonna be close. I don't know. I reckon 6'6".
Yeah, he's got to be 6'6", 6'7", maybe.
6'9".
He's 6 exactly. I was correct.
Taller than I expected.
Bigger height difference between me and the Laotians.
Okay, so moving on from that, Laos is land of 1 million, probably not one, but Laos is the land of 1 million elephants, and elephant is the national symbol of Laos. Due to the vast number of them that reside here, Laos is also called Lain Giang, which literally translates to the land of 1 million elephants. I like elephants. Elephants is quite a cool national animal. I mean,
it's one of my favourite animals in the world by a mile.
I do love.
Most amazing characteristics.
They're so cute as well. The babies are so
when they hold on
playful.
to tails and everything.
Yeah, well, they're so playful when they play with you as well. Like just roll around.
I think the thing I love is not just the sort of, you say play with us, but that's within the sort of tourist trap where they've, and sadly some of the conditions aren't great.
In elephant sanctuaries,
which are not always the best. Some of them are very abusive and corrupt.
No, not always.
We're not saying they are in Laos, even though probably there are a lot. I mean, in terms
and now we're not allowed to go to Laos anymore.
And this video is sponsored by Laos Tourism.
It's definitely not.
No, it's not. I wish it was sponsored by Amarula. But anyway, so I mean more in terms of when you see an elephant in the wild, its interaction with its own family.
Yeah.
So when you see the animals outside of zoos and everything, when you see them actually interact completely naturally, then you see this really playful side of them. And the parent sort of winding them up, or you see the parent get annoyed and just shunt them to one side, and then it runs away going, oh, what was that about? Or one of the bigger bull elephants will nudge the little baby, and then it'll run under its mum's legs trying to hide, thinking, Mum, mate.
And we are actually going to talk about safaris and probably elephants at some point in one of our next episodes, probably episode 5 or 6. So that is coming, so you should stay tuned. But other cool animals, so can you remember what the national animal for Scotland is?
I was about to say haggis.
Haggis. It's close.
It's such a bad food, I feel like it's going to come alive off the plate.
Or what, there's bugs living in it.
Yeah, they were just...
So it's the unicorn.
Right.
Which is another very cool animal, and we'll talk about the best places you can go to visit unicorns.
Yeah, to be fair, they found a unicorn skeleton in North Korea a few years ago, so that's probably high up there. Kim Jong-un, just after playing around a golf, getting a hole-in-one on every single hole on his first ever time playing.
He's quite good at golf.
He also declared that they found a unicorn skeleton. Pretty cool.
I believe it.
And I think called love.
And Will, what is the next point before you ruin
Amarula is
with your
great.
singing?
So the next point. This, Morgan, is one of my favourite things. Is Laos is home to one of the most bizarre, over-competitive, dodgy betting illegal betting sports in the world. So a lot of people know what cockfighting is, where you're getting chickens and roosters to attack each other. And people have actually died because of cockfights. This is making rhinoceros beetles wrestle, which is insane. But before I get on the details of the beetle, is the winner is whichever one causes serious injury to the other, kills the other one, or manages to severely pin down the other one, which I don't see how they're going to do without seriously maiming them anyway. But rhinoceros beetle being what I believe is the strongest, the highest strength to weight ratio in the world.
So it's like the Olympics of wrestling.
This isn't like the Hercules. This is actually just Zeus. This is the Zeus of the animal kingdom. This thing is so strong. I think it's 3,000 times strength to weight ratio.
Although I don't think they'd sell out the Staples Center.
I don't know if there were 2 rhinoceros beetles with a lot of clout. Maybe.
That is true. How many followers do they have on Instagram?
Yeah, a few million each.
Oh, it's actually they got so many like family and friends.
Yeah, because the biggest Beatles out there, you've got this really good one called John Lennon. Can't name another. Paul McCartney.
Oh,
there we are.
dear. So I think now is
That
a good
would sell
time
out.
to start moving on to some of the most Instagrammable locations in Laos.
And the best thing about this is if you are an Instagram, social media mogul, or you just like photos,
Mowgli.
or you're on the very sad end of the spectrum and you are an Instagram boyfriend or girlfriend where your holidays are filled with the joys of taking over-the-top photos of your influencer other half.
That sounds
This
quite
might
fun.
be
I'd
the
quite
place
like
for you
that.
because
Anyone
we
out
are
there?
going to give you
Please.
some amazing locations. Morgan would like to be a photography boyfriend. If there are any girls out there right now listening to this podcast, this is a short advert for Morgan's dating profile. He would like to be a photography boyfriend. Thanks. Back
Yeah.
to the show.
That's it.
So, Morgan, what is our first location for our photography boyfriends and girlfriends, Instagram lovers, social media moguls, and influencers?
Our first place is the Vang Vien challenge. Well, it's in Vang Vien, and basically it's not for the faint-hearted and includes trekking a via ferrata. Words. I'm struggling with them. It includes trekking a via ferrata. It includes zip lining. It includes, well, more treks. And also spending a night in a mountain hut. Now this kind of reminds me of our trek on the Salcantay Trail all the way up to Machu Picchu, where we've got beautiful views. We slept in mountain huts, did some zip lining.
Yeah.
Just in Southeast Asia, not South America. And probably equally as pretty, but my guess would be slightly warmer.
Slightly warm is an understatement.
Yeah.
Actually, no, parts of Salcantay Trail, though, because they were the mountain rainforests, which were very hot and humid.
That is true.
Because that's a microclimate throughout the mountain range along there. So I don't know. I think it sounds really cool. I think this would be a trek we would 100% go on.
Yeah, if when we're in Laos, I think
We will
it's
go on
definitely
this
something that we'll do.
And maybe do a little vlog or integrate it into
An
a pod
episode.
vlog.
A pod vlog. Oh, a pod vlog. Pod
Exactly.
vlog. So what other Instagrammable locations, or is that it?
Morgan, we've got more Instagrammable locations, but before we give you those best tips, tricks, and best kept secrets of our Instagrammable locations, I think I need to tell you about a little bit of a challenge we've got going. If you have any amazing photos of your time in Laos or any other location around the world which you think is worthy of making a statement on this show, we would love to do an episode if we get enough of you interacting of your best photos. Either post it on Instagram, hashtag Best Kept Secrets Travel Laos, then it will be easier for us to find those photos, or send it to us directly on one of our emails on, I think it's the Best Kept Secrets Travel or the bkstravel@gmail.com, or send it to us directly on our Instagram and we will post it on one of our future episodes.
Which is also the BKS Travel.
Easy peasy.
Lemon squeezy.
Instagrammy squeezy. So, back to our next Instagrammable location is the Kwanzai Waterfalls in Luang Prabang, one of the must-see sites around, and
Luang
you
Prabang.
have put in these tongue twisters for me, Morgan.
Kwangsi
One of the
Waterfall and Luang Prabang.
must-see sites around Luang Prabang is the multi-tiered Kwanzai Waterfalls with multiple swimming holes, photo viewpoints, and walks to explore. This sounds like the
Epic.
gram.
Multi-tiered waterfalls are just insta.
How many tiers does a multi-tier waterfall need? Is it just one, more than one? Because this sound,
More than one.
the way that the excitement I'm feeling around this, it's got at least 11 tiers.
11.
I don't know how many it has. I could be overselling it right now.
There's no such thing as overselling Luangsi Waterfall.
This almost feels like a TV commercial, doesn't it?
Kwangsi, sorry. Yeah.
This could be QVC for
Apparently
the
it's
waterfalls.
closed.
You can't close the waterfall, Morgan.
There's lots. It looks like it kind of goes on for quite a while with lots of different tiers like that, and you get to swim. in
Oh,
all
I
of
can
them.
see over 11 tiers in there. A lot of tiers. And I'm sure people have fallen over
feel
and have
sorry that
added
they're
their
so
own
sad.
tiers to the tiers.
Yeah,
There's a lot of tiers in this waterfall, and it's looking grammy.
it's got very sort of turquoisey blue waters, and as Will said, lots of tiers that you can swim in, get some lovely. Will can get in his bikini and get some lovely Instagrammable photos.
There's a lot of tiers in this waterfall, guys. Guys and girls.
or you can just cry.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that is definitely a best kept secret, that one.
That is a good one.
But Morgan, hot air balloon, ever been in one?
No,
I haven't either.
I would love to. I'd love to go in Cappadocia, but I'd also
Yep.
love to go in Vang Vien.
Again.
Vang Vien features quite a few times on this list, and there are lots of photo opportunities that you can get. And soaring above the city in a hot air balloon, Laos is one of the cheapest places, which I don't know if this is a good thing. Cheapest places in the world you can get in a hot air balloon. So there are both obviously sunrise and sunset flights available, and this is a great, unique way to see Vang Vien. Yeah, that was pretty much that
Do you know
point.
how much it is for a hot air balloon out there?
Cheap.
Perfect.
Back to your favourite landlocked country.
If you remember earlier, we spoke about Laos being a landlocked country in Southeast Asia. But we spoke about there being islands. I said there were over 4,000 islands. There's part down there which is known as the 4,000 Islands of Laos. And the best thing about that is that combination of those small islands with the Mekong River has some of the most spectacular sunsets and sunrises in the whole of Laos. So if you're looking for one of those really dawn or dusk, beautiful photos, picturesque, you can have dinner outside, you could do any of it. Go to those 4,000 islands. Get a sunset photo. Buy yourself an island. Treat yourself. You might as well. You only live once. Do it. Just do it.
Now that sounds like a great idea to me. And the best time to visit Laos is, well, depends what you want to do. But the best time to visit Laos is between October and April, because that's sort of the dry time where it's not too warm, but you don't get all the rain. River travel is best between November and January, and that's because the high water levels make it very easy to go along Laos's main waterway, which is the Mekong River. Visiting places like Bolivan Plateau is also very pleasant at this time of year. But the green season falls between late May and October, when the rains return to the country. However, the showers are usually short and sharp and sort of have little impact on your exploration. So I had this a lot in Vietnam when I went in rainy season, and basically you get torrential rain for a few minutes. Quite often it will flood, including, and I'll talk about this in the Vietnam episode, where the hostel flooded, or somehow it was coming through the ceiling light. And then suddenly it stops and the drainage is weirdly good, and then everything's back to normal. So that shouldn't stop you. So essentially, the moral of this point is you can go whenever. You'll get good things whenever, just at different times.
So we're going to roll into one of Morgan's favourite parts, which is the language. We're going to keep this short, sweet, and a lot of fun. And we're going to give you what we believe are the most important snippets of language to go to any country with. We're going to start.
So what is Would You Dance With Me?
That is not the language we use, Morgan. We never use that when we're out there. Right, let's start off. We've just seen each other. How do I say hello? How are you going to say it, Morgan?
Sabaidi.
Beautiful.
Sabaidi.
Beautiful pronunciation.
How would you say thank you?
Kop chai.
Fantastic. Love it.
Morgan, I need a pint. I need a nice
You need a pint, right.
beverageino.
Kaluna.
How do I say, please, can I have a beer?
Kaluna, Koni Sabad, Subia, Daibo.
Yes, you can.
I'm very confident
You
that
can.
is
That's
perfect pronunciation.
If you think that we've mispronounced or mispronounced any of these words, then let me just tell you to really quickly admit that you're wrong. So,
Really quickly to do one. Sorry.
Morgan.
No. In all seriousness, if you do speak Laotian or know how to say these words, we would happily either have you on for a bit or just have a conversation, because we joke about it a lot, but we genuinely do want to learn these words and get better at it, because
it's the only way you learn.
We're obnoxious Englishmen.
So, Morgan, before we leave all on
Where
this
are we
mission,
leaving?
how do you say good luck?
Sokdi.
Perfect.
And that's another word for also saying goodbye.
Is it?
That's how they normally say goodbye.
So we're going to say Sok D to this language section and Sabadai to visas, a little bit of travel and cost before we roll on to food and drink. Morgan,
Yep.
check yourself.
Well, that's check yourself. It's always good. You've got to sort of feel around and check for lumps and bumps just to make sure you're all
Right,
good.
Jared, cut that bit out.
The reason it said check yourself is because the stuff around visas changes all the time, and it's very dependent on what your country is. So
Check the visa situation yourself on your government website or contact your embassy. That is your best chance of working out the visa situation.
But for us British people, we can get a 30-day visa and extend it twice. But obviously, you need to check for COVID regulations at the moment.
And seeing as we film this recording prior to sending it out, please, even if you are a Brit living in the UK and you're planning on leaving from the UK, do make sure and confirm this situation beforehand, because we are not liable.
But if you have done that, and you have checked that the visa's okay, what are the most common airports that you travel to get there?
Heathrow.
To Laos.
In Laos. You said what airports do you travel
To get there.
to get there?
Yeah.
So I'd travel from here to Heathrow to get to Laos.
Or Suvarnabhumi International Airport in
Is that
Bangkok.
Manchester. You fly to Bangkok.
Just block him out for the rest of the... No. Delete that bit. So, Will, what are the most... How would you get to Laos from the UK?
If I was going to Laos from the UK, I'd go to one of the London airports first. I'd travel to one of them.
Past that,
And
yeah.
then from there, I'd most commonly fly to Bangkok and then on to Laos itself, because Bangkok's such a big, significant international airport. We've even travelled through Bangkok when we're going to Australia, Morgan.
Yeah, and Bangkok Airways operates flights between Bangkok and Luang Prabang, but you can also go with Thai Airways from Bangkok to Vientiane, which is obviously the capital. And there are visa on arrival counters at Vientiane, Luang Prabang, and Paxi.
So, Morgan,
Yes.
currency in Laos. There
The
is some access.
Laotian kip.
But there's also, when you're out there and you're trying to take cash, there is some access to ATMs and using credit, debit cards, or what quite commonly now preloaded travel cards and everything.
In the main cities, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Mainly.
and then you travel around with cash, which, as you said, was Laotian kip. Otherwise, the LAK is what you'd see instead of, like, Great British Pounds is GBP.
Fantastic.
£1 is 14,444 Laotian kip as we speak.
And I think that's very important to remember.
Because that's really easy to walk into a shop, and when it says 20,000, you just think in your head, 20,000 divided by 14,444. It's really easy to do.
Thanks for cutting me off. When thinking about the average price of a beer,
Is it?
which is 12,000 lak.
So,
A
give
beer
or
is less than a pound.
take 90p, 85, 90p.
Round it up.
They're
Pound.
basing that on what you said, but it's not a pound at all. 12,000 relative to 14.
90p rounding up is
Oh,
a
you were
pound.
just rounding that up. I thought you were rounding that 85 up. Anyway,
Your ears are working very well.
no, your brain's not working well, Morgan.
My
So
brain
one of
is
the things
working
about this is that I find disturbing is that I could buy a litre
Lots
of
of
Lao Lao,
Amarula.
a litre of Lao Lao
Mhm.
for less than a beer, is what you're telling me. But I've spoken to a few people who travel out to Laos, and they said you could often find some hostels which you'd get your night stay, your dinner, plus a beer.
Like a free beer type thing.
Yeah, your beer, dinner, and a night stay for less than 50p in parts of Laos.
Well, the 85, 90p is probably retail price rather than the deals that you get in hostels. But that just shows how much of a sort of party country, well, not the country itself actually, but just the tourists that go there and what they do. And we
The
will
fact
talk.
you can incentivise them via beer.
We will talk a lot about that in part 2 of the episode. So the average price of a hostel we have here is £3, but as Will said, there are, and you can see very easily, lots cheaper. It's just that's kind of a rough average.
Yeah. So, Morgan, the best method of transport around the country of Laos. Whilst there are many varieties of transportation, travel is always going to be very slow. The roads can be flooded or just completely unpaved, just muddy, boggy. It can be awful. I think even Top Gear, one of their really old episodes, they went through Laos and they just kept being stuck, even in the big 4x4s. And it just shows, as a tourist, if you're trying to go out to these more sort of
Remote.
untouched, remote areas, then you need to take into account you could end up spending a night just trying to dig out a truck.
Sounds like a fun activity.
I think it'd be fun until it's the middle of the
Until
night.
it's not fun.
Yeah, until it's not fun. But, you got bikes, you got night buses, tuk-tuks, absolutely classic. You got minivans, all the sort of normal things you'd expect to be out there. Other than that, you've also got songthus or jumbos, which are typically pickup trucks that have been converted to be extra large tuk-tuks.
Ooh, so that's probably quite convenient for the roads and the unpaved floodingness.
Yeah, so they would act as a sort of extra large tuk-tuk public bus, and they'll always follow a set route at just really random times. So they won't be like a regular interval timetable.
So it'll probably be sort of like when they just wait until they're filled up and then they go.
Yeah.
Is what they
Or
normally do.
the driver's just bored and he's like, no, I'm going to move on.
Or drunk,
Yeah.
as they quite often are.
Yeah.
But, so moving on to local foods and drinks. Probably Will's favourite part.
Food and drink with best kept secrets travel.
Yeah, I think you got to work on that jingle.
Yeah.
So, to start off, we're going to do Talat Sao. Talat Sao is found in most towns throughout Laos and remains... The next section we're going to go through is Will's favourite.
Food and drink. Food and drink. Food and drink.
And the caffeine has hit him already. Starting off with Talat Sao, which is found in most towns throughout Laos, and it's basically a focal point for all noodle shops, coffee vendors and fruit stands. In Luang Prabang, Vientiane and Luang Namtha, vendors make pre-made dishes and gather towards each other late afternoon and evening in markets known as Talat Let Laing. Most market vendors only offer takeaway food with the exception of noodle stalls, where they will be able to have a small table or bench, which they had the same thing in Vietnam, which was really cool. And you'll sit, they'll season it, and you'll be able to eat your noodle soups outside of the markets, which in a makeshift kitchen, which is quite cool.
It really is quite cool.
So that first word is what the next one is, BTW.
Am I saying larb? Is that where I am right now?
That's
Sorry.
what it's called.
No, is that where I am right now?
Yes.
Larb is Laos's unofficial national dish. Morgan, how do you become an unofficial dish? Is this the dish of the people, or is just...
It's the people's dish.
Is-
Well, I
is
guess
it
in a
you just-
communist country, it could just be the people's dish.
It could be the people's dish, and it's found in even the tiniest towns, as well as across the border in Thailand's Isan region. Or Isan region. It's a zingy but not spicy plate of flavour, light and refreshing. The dish pronounced lab with a short A and PB at the end. Lab. It's a simple enough that you can make it for a dinner party when you get home. Name dropping your trip.
Oh, this. I learned it when I was in Laos.
Exactly. It's a meat salad with minced raw or cooked pork, beef, chicken, duck, though fish, tofu and mushroom versions also exist. One of these is tossed with a wonderful... I was trying to say, listen.
Wonderful litany.
You toss this around with loads of fresh herbs, mint, coriander, lemongrass, ground toasted rice for a nice little crunch, lime juice and fish sauce. It's served with vegetables, usually lettuce to use as a bowl, and khao nu, which is known as sticky rice, and the base of nearly every meal in Laos.
That does sound very tasty.
That sounds really good.
When we get to these food episodes, once we've moved out, I think that could be something that we make. Quite
This
a lot
sounds
of these.
really good.
Quite a lot
But
of
this
these things.
sounds slightly actually a bit like a sort of mishu pork kind of thing, where
Yeah.
using the sort of lettuce as a miniature bowl and filling it up with the
Yeah.
meat, and as I said, with herbs and mint, coriander and lemongrass. It's got that very much sort of that vibe. One of my favourite things out there. Super quick to make mishu pork. I can do a whole mishu pork dish in 10-15 minutes, and it's super nice.
Yeah, so this could be another episode for the future. And the next one is Beer Lao. Beer Lao refers to any of the beers by the Lao Brewing Company. No matter where you are in Laos, there is a crate of Beer Lao and possibly a backpacker wearing a Beer Lao tank top, unfortunately. They're all rice lagers, around 5% ABV, except for the 6.5% Beer Lao Dark. And they're all made with local rice, hops, and yeast from Germany, and malt from France and Belgium. We'd probably just sit at the hostel and go through them all, wouldn't we?
Yeah. I would, or just go to the local shop and just buy one or two
Buy the
of
brewery.
every single one. So then we just work through them. Do you say buy the brewery? I don't know how much it'd be in Laos. Probably not that much.
It'd probably
It
be
sounds
a lot.
pretty good.
It does. Again, we'll have to go out.
I know I've had rice beers before, but I don't believe they're from Laos.
Oh, so the next food is one of your favourite from the Vietnam episode.
Is it
It's to do with
banh mi?
bang mi.
That's how you say bang mi. That's the spelling of bang mi after all of this.
Yeah.
BANH.
Yeah. Did you not read it the first time?
Morgan, I was very high on caffeine whilst you told me to read bang mi. The word, which simply means bread, refers to both crispy, chewy, grilled sticky rice (brackets delicious) and a baguette sandwich. Commonly found at street cars and stalls, is a variety filled with pork belly, pate, lemongrass, coriander, and shredded cucumber and carrots. Sometimes it has sausage or pork floss. Sometimes chili sauce, sweet, spicy, pickled green papaya tucked in. That sounds
And what's
Pretty-
it called?
bang me,
No.
bun me.
No, you missed the sentence about... That's the Vietnamese one. In Laos, it's called Khao Ji. Or Khao Chi. Or Ji.
It's the same thing, but that's what do you call it in Laos?
Bang mi, the word does not simply mean bread, I don't believe. It could do. But Khao Ji, the word simply means bread. But I will move on to the next one, which we have spoken about before, which is Lao Lao. The name isn't a typo. One Lao refers to Laos and the other means alcohol.
Lao Lao is an inexpensive rice whiskey drunk by locals. It's 40 to 50% ABV, and unless you regularly toss back vodka shots, you'll want to take a sip of this first, and perhaps mix it.
And perhaps mix it instead, because it is quite strong, and then you can mask some of the flavour and make your money worth.
40 to 50%. I mean, at $1 a litre, there's no. It probably increases your cost of making your drink, going and buying a bottle of lemonade or something.
Yeah,
to mix with it. Whereas in the UK, buying lemonade or Coke makes
the
the
cheap
overall
part. Yeah.
drink a lot cheaper because you can buy them for so little.
So there is some gentle competition with northern Thailand as to the birthplace of this much-loved dish. Can you guess what it is?
If you are from Thailand or Laos and you're listening to this right now and you think that this is your dish, the first one of you to comment in the YouTube video below, we will make a public statement saying it is from your country. So do it for your country. Comment on this video below and get a good like, and get all your friends and family to comment below as well.
And we are talking about fermented flat rice noodles, minced pork, fermented soybeans, and a whole lot of herbs and spices. Northern Laos version differs from northern Thailand's by being quite thick, almost like a bolognese sauce. Locals that usually enjoy this for breakfast, but it's more acceptable to eat khao soi at any time of day. How fantastic.
That sounds pretty good, but so does Kua Pak Bong, which is found in abundance across Southeast Asia. Pak Bong is a classic dish made from water spinach, also known as morning glory, which I have had. I've
had a morning glory.
I've eaten a dish called morning glory at the local Thai restaurants here.
Right, that was it. Got it.
And funnily enough, opening that menu and reading that name did make me laugh, but now it makes all the more sense. You are going to clip that, I already know it. But you'll be hard-pressed to find, didn't like saying that bit, many that omits this. Cooked as a simple yet flavour-packed stir-fry with oyster sauce, garlic, and a touch of chilli. So, Morgan, that brings us to the end of part 1 of this episode, because we've just finished going through the geography, the history, the snippets of the best random facts of Laos, some of the best locations for an Instagram photo, as well as some food, drink, prices for the locals.
And if you enjoyed that episode, I think you should come back. And if you want to know some of the best places to see, some of the best activities, some of the best experiences you can have in Laos, you should come back next week for part 2.
Yeah, let's make it happen. I hope that you can handle going on adventures, best kept secret travels. Yeah, all over the globe, having fun, you know the deal. Amazing secret locations, hang out with Morgan and Will. Educate and entertain, haggle in the market, sharing their experiences. Time to get it started. Let's go.